Okay, so I'm preparing for my Nanowrimo outline, and what I'm doing is looking at my mind maps, and this was keywords that I wrote down a week ago, just to get an idea of what I wanted my title to be. I created a synopsis page, the pitch page, and the pitch is Fairyland is in danger. A key music box and magic time-traveling steamboat takes Daniel and Samuel back in time to when Grammy was a young girl. And that's 25 words. Okay, so that would probably go on the back of your novel. And then I did some research to look for a little steamboat, and I found Salty the Steamboat. There's the design for him, and it's got all the links and everything of what it would look like and what it's made of. I found that online on reliablesteam.com. So then this is the next section is mind maps. So I created October 25th. I typed up my mind maps, drawn on paper, created outline bases on ideas. And what I did is I just did chapter 1, chapter 2, all the way up to 10. So you always do about 10 chapters. So I just wrote down some ideas. Chapter 1, summer vacation time, school, Magic Land Academy. So I'm looking at my settings and places so I know where I'm going to put the story. I made a list of some of the characters that are going to be involved with the story and where they live. So basically it gives me an idea who's in the story in this section and what kind of things are going to happen to them. Just basic. I had to look up the ages. I haven't finished doing that, so I'm probably going to pass it by and put it in later. I'm going to do the timeline around 1950s because I want Granny to be like around age 8 to 13. So basically the boys are going to go back in time and they're going to bump into Grammy. But they're not going to know it until they get there. So it'll be more fun that way. And then I'm going to have them go back in time to when their mother was alive. So we can hear a little bit about what it was like for Daniel and Samuel and what their mom was like and everything. Because in the first two books, basically they're grieving the loss of her, her death. They've been through a funeral, which isn't mentioned too much in the story, and just, briefly. And basically I dealt with the anger and the emotions that they had after their mom dies and what their dad acts like and how he deals with his grief. And so now I'm going to go back in the storyline to before when things were happier and when life was just, peachy keen, and then watch it change. And I wanted to do that to add some sort of emotion to the story so that my readers can connect with it, because a lot of us have been through the loss of loved ones, either parents, grandparents, or siblings. And so I wanted to bring some reality into this fictional tale. So this is going to be a children's story. The genre is going to be probably fantasy. Fantasy and magic is basically what it's about. Okay? So today I'm going to work on chapter 1, and then what I did is I copy and pasted everything over to here. And since I don't like wearing my glasses all the time, I put it in a veranda font. Now when you upload to the website for Nanowrimo, you have to put it in Times New Roman 12. It won't count it properly if you don't. You'll actually miss word counts if you do it anything differently, unless they've changed it. It might be Courier New might be okay, and I haven't looked at the guidelines, but I know Times New Roman works the best. And so I did a Grammy's Magic Steamboat, Mind Map Ideas, author Linda Randall, and then I also put it into when you insert your header, I don't go directly to header, I go to page number, and then I go to the top of page. I like number 3, because it puts it at the top and does that. So I'm going to close that because I've already done it, and I just erased everything I did, I guess. So see how I erased it, right? Now the nice thing is with Word is you can go on this little arrow here, hit back, and it brings everything back to the way it should be. Now that arrow only works for about 5 to 7 times, basically 5 to 7 changes, and then it doesn't go back any further, so be careful with that, okay? I've lost a lot of stuff because I've done things wrong. So then I did the chapter 1. Now how I did these little chapter things here is I highlighted the word, I went to heading 2, and I wanted it in veranda. Now the default's Times New Roman, right? So if I want it in veranda, what I do is I pick what I want, the font I want, the number I want, and then you right click on your heading and you say update heading to match selection. And that helps it for that. And then what I've done with my normal, I've set it up as veranda 12 for everything. So if I need to change everything to this, I just click on that. If I need to change it to this, I click on that, and that makes it. You highlight it, and it makes it, okay? So this is kind of a bit of a lesson between using Word and also doing NaNoWriMo. So then I put it in big form, because, and then I did a spell check for it under Review. You go to Review, Grammar and Spelling. Of course, I already did it, so I don't have to do anything with it. See, it does pick up fragments, but I don't really care because this is just an outline and it's going to have fragments in it. And then I resave it again. Now, I find that this save button always doesn't work all that great. So you want to do a save as every once in a while just to make sure it's doing it. And in my documents, I have a file called Grammy's Magic Steamboat. And we go back because this is what the storyline's about. And then I have little folders for characters, pitch, draft, and mind maps. And right now I'm working on my mind maps. The draft will be when I actually start typing my story. The pitch is that 25-word thing. And the characters, this is basically a list of the characters that are going to... Uh-oh. No, I don't want to replace the existing file. Never mind. I got to get out of there before I hurt myself. Okay, so I'm going to go to Open. I just about messed that up big time. I would have been so mad. Okay, so I made a list of characters. These are the people that I plan to put into this storyline. And of course I worked on this October 26th, just so I had a basic idea of who's going to be in the story. And of course there's going to be more characters. But these are, what I did was went back into the old storylines from the last 2 books and just got an idea of where they were in the story, how old they are, and, you know, different things, where they live, who they're related to, or how do they connect in the story. Just a basic outline. And this is just to help me remember who's who and what's what. Because I found that when you write, you forget how to print your characters' names. And this happens a lot. Especially when you got some of them with the same name or close in similarity, because I have a grandparent and a granddaughter with the same kind of name. So what I did is I changed it so that it's different. The last one I did Mary Senior, Mary Junior, and I just kept getting confused. And I can't get confused this time because I'm confused already. So I'm going to print that up. And basically while I'm typing on my computer, working on my manuscript, I've got it here on my desk here. So that I can just look at, okay, so I want to talk about the summer vacation time. So I got to come up with an idea for that. And then I want to talk about they're at school, and of course it's going to be the last day of school. I always start the book with them at the last day of school. What happens, I usually put something funny or magical that happens that the boys do. They pull a prank on the teacher or their students before they leave because they can't help themselves. They're just mischievous little boys, right? And then there's the list of characters there, page numbers, dated. So you know, if your pages all fall off your desk, you know what it's for. And I didn't put list of characters on the second page, but I can pretty much tell. So I didn't actually label this properly. I should have Grammy's Magic Steamboat and then characters. I did that one correctly, mind map ideas. Now the other 2 things that I like to do is I have a notebook handy, things to do to remember. I usually stick it in these novel things, but then I'm going through pages and pages trying to find stuff that I have to do, stuff that I have to remember. So I decided to do a little notepad instead of each day of what I need to do. So the first thing I do today was print chapters 1 to 10 from my mind maps. And then of course I'm going to work on my outlines. But I might not work on the outlines, I just might start working on the story because I've got very limited time. Then I have a notebook dedicated just to my Grammy's Magic Steamboat, you know. So I label it and I put down my name on it, and then it'll become book 1 or 2, whatever. And then of course I have my blog book where I keep track of all the things I have to do for the day, paying bills, library trips, stuff like that. Because when you start writing, as you all know, you get into your own little world and you forget about everybody else and everything else. So I actually make a timeline of when I want to have lunch, when I want to have supper. I tell everybody don't disturb me till that time, then I'll come and see you, talk to you. If something comes up, the rule is that Harold has to bring a little note into me and stick it on my desk. So if something comes up, then I'll look at it when I get a chance. The other thing I'm going to do this year that's different is I'm going to time myself, because I'm only supposed to sit for half an hour to an hour at a time, then get up and walk around because of my foot problem here. So I've got a watch here that's got a stopwatch on it, so I'm going to be looking at that every once in a while to see how long I've been here. Because when you get writing, I used to sit there like a zombie for 4 hours, and then my whole body was just completely numb, and I was ill, and then I'd have to lay down and recuperate for a couple days, and it kind of messed everything up. So this time I'm going to do things different. It'll be in a 1 hour limit max, and then I have to get up and walk around, go for a little 5-10 minute walk just to refresh myself, have a cup of coffee or a drink of water, have a little nibble. I'm going to have apples. I'm going to have some Granny Smith apples for my snack time. I had my breakfast this morning. I just had one slice of toast. I don't like to eat too much before you start eating, because then you start burping and getting gas in your stomach and stuff. So it's best when you're writing, just eat light meals like soup, a little bit of half a sandwich. And what you do is you divide your sandwich up. I like cucumber and cheese sandwiches, so I'll have half of it at tea time, and the other half I'll have at nighttime when I'm in a snacking mood. I'll eat the other half later. So that's just some of the tips I have for writing for NaNoWriMo writers. And I'm going to video blog this and upload it on the Idea Girl Consulting YouTube channel, because that's my username in the NaNoWriMo website. Okay? Thank you.